Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Veda and this is The Simple Budget. Here on my channel, I show you how my family is using the zero-based budgeting method in order to get out of debt and simplify our financial life. If that sounds like content that you're interested in, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and join our little crew here. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Well, hello everyone, and happy semi-unplanned bonus content Wednesday. This video has been requested a bunch of times, and I finally decided that I was just going to bite the bullet and film it for you. So, without further ado, this is how to make cold brew. Now, I just want to state as a disclaimer here, this is the way that I do it to my taste. I'm a person who's pretty sensitive to caffeine. And the cold brew recipe that I'm going to share with you today is not a concentrate. So there are some, for actually a little bit of a brief educational tour of cold brew, if you will. Whenever you're in the cold brew section of any grocery store, sometimes you'll see them, they're direct pour, meaning you can just like drink it straight out of the bottle, or it's a concentrate. And that means that you will have to dilute it in your cup with either water or milk or ice. It just depends on like your particular sensitivities and flavor. Mine is a direct pour, meaning you can drink it as soon as the brewing period is over. Say brewing loosely here because we're not actually brewing it. It's just sitting. But because of my particular sensitivities to caffeine, I do add a little bit of water to mine in addition to the ice that I put in it. But again, this is like one of those, like once you taste it, you'll be able to alter it however you see fit for your own personal taste buds. That's the beauty of something like this. So I'm going to show you guys two different methods because I personally use what's called a coffee sack, and I will leave it linked below if you're interested. It's basically just a giant mason jar, but it comes with, don't quote me on this. I think it's like an organic cotton sack that you put the grounds in, and you'll see all of it. I'm getting ready to show it to you. But what I like about it is that it's not like bleached or processed in any way, because you don't want that flavor being imparted in your coffee, and probably also like it's kind of semi-toxic. So that's what I use, but I also don't want you to be deterred from making your own cold brew by not having like the right equipment. And so I'm going to show you another way that you can do it. And it's like very flexible and forgiving, this entire process. So let's just jump right into it. Okay, so first up, obviously, if we're gonna make cold brew, we need coffee. What I do is I go to Starbucks and I pick out a bag that I think sounds really good to me. I use a dark roast. Sorry, I'm like scooching my chair up here. I use a dark roast coffee. Now, dark roast is roasted longer. That's why the beans are darker. But it also roasts some of the caffeine out of it. So actually, dark roast is less caffeinated than light roast, like a blonde roast. A blonde roast is going to have a more caffeinated bean. A medium roast is somewhere in the middle. Dark roast has less caffeine. But I think a more robust flavor profile. And so that's why Mr. Simple and I enjoy a dark roast coffee. And you're not gonna be able to see it like in the bowl, but maybe if I pull it out, if you tell them that you want a coarse grind, this is how it will come out, like a coarse grind for cold brew, and Starbucks will grind it for you. You can also go into Trader Joe's and grind your coffee there. I don't know. I'm not sure like what grocery stores have coffee grinders, or you can just buy a coffee grinder and do a coarse grind on it yourself. We do have a small coffee grinder, but that is mostly for Mr. Simple's use because he makes himself a pour over hot coffee every day. But as we get into the warmer weather, I drink cold brew. So that's it. And so here's the best part. The ratio is super simple. Now it uses a lot. So the ratio for this, for again, like a straight pour, you'll be able to drink it as soon as it's done brewing, is a half cup for every 2 cups of water. So my coffee sock holds 6 cups of water. This is what she looks like. I mean, literally, guys, it's just a giant mason jar. But it comes with this little bag, and like the lid has like, I can't find the little centerpiece, but I mean, like I said, you don't need like fancy materials. We're just gonna put some plastic wrap over this and screw this over top of it, and it's gonna do exactly what we need it to do. So that's the ratio. So 1/2 cup, so a half a cup of coffee grounds for every 2 cups of water that you use. The nice thing about the coffee sock is the bag. Now this is not dirty. I know it looks like it might be. The coffee bag, it comes like, it's much more beige than this, but this is well used and well loved. And you just boil it in water for 10 minutes, like every few brews. And that keeps it nice and clean. And I just let it air dry. So it comes I'll just try to show you. So it comes with this little sack, and that banging that you hear is this little metal tube that's going to actually hold the top closed after we get the grounds in here. So I'll show you that now. So this is the nice thing about the coffee sock, is you just stick this in here, fold it over the top like this, and that makes pouring the grounds in here like 1,000,000 times easier. See? So that's all I do. I just take my measuring cup here, and I'm gonna put 1.5 cups of grounds in here because I'm doing 6 cups of water. And honestly, like, feel free to alter the ratio to suit your needs. If you're somebody who wants a more concentrated, caffeinated, I don't think I poured myself enough here. Uh-oh. We lost some grounds, and now you guys just have a visual of my hand. You're welcome. If you're somebody who wants a little bit more of a caffeinated coffee, like cold brew, by all means, change the ratio, add a little bit more grounds in here if you want to. And then I'm gonna grab my water. I left that out of arm's reach. Okay, here we go. So I have my water here. I just fill up my ginormous Pyrex. And then I like to, when I'm pouring it in, I do kind of like a slow pour. And then I just like to turn the bottle or the jar ever so slightly around the entire time, just so that I like make sure that I'm pouring water over every nook and cranny. I mean, it doesn't really matter because the bag is fully submerged in the water when this is all done, but I still like to just take that extra care to make sure that I'm really getting the water to go all over these grounds as I slow pour this in here. And then I'll show you guys how we seal this up. There we go. All right, that's that. So then this is the part that I love about the coffee sock too. So you just lift up the piece that you folded over and just kind of like scrunch it together like this, and then swoop this around several times until you've run out of like actual length there. And then the ring just goes over top of the little part that you scrunched, just like that. And so it's completely sealed. Grounds don't get into this water. And then I do, again, it's not necessary because it's gonna be like submerged overnight and the top kind of prevents it from coming back up again. But I like to just sit here and make sure that like I'm pushing and holding it down. And then once I feel good about like it being submerged in water, getting every possible square inch, not square inch, but you know what I'm saying, of the grounds, that's usually when I put the lid back on. So I'm grabbing my cling wrap here. Actually, you know what? get a sandwich baggie. Yeah, so once I feel comfortable about like how well it's under the water, I just grab the little bag. I don't like to use this because frankly, I don't like plastic. But I cannot find the seal lid. And then just go like this. And guys, it's literally this simple. This is it. So you're just gonna put this, you don't have to shake it. You don't have to do anything to it. You just put this right in the fridge. The length of time is dependent upon how much you're doing. I usually will prep this right before I go to bed. So around like 9:30, 10 p.m. And then the next morning when I wake up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock, it's ready to go. Like it's done, it's made. And then I just pour this in whatever like sealed pitcher you have in your fridge, like whatever like drink dispenser you have in your fridge, and it keeps. I mean, for me, it keeps because I drink it every day. And I usually have to make this recipe, I'm going to say like once every 2 to 3 days. That's how much cold brew I drink. I do drink a lot. And that's it. It's delicious. And then you can doctor it however you like. You can put maple syrup in it. You can put honey in it. You can put cinnamon. You can put vanilla, like afterward. Like just make your own specialty cold brew that is all the flavors that you like. I'm going to show you guys how I do my very, very, very basic simple syrup as well. But I mean, tailor it to your own tastes. So that's it. He's just going to go in the fridge and he's going to hang out overnight and he's going to make me the happiest little cold brew ever. I'm going to love it. I'm going to clean this up and then I'm going to show you the second way how to make cold brew. All right, y'all, here we go. So the second way to make cold brew, or the unfancy way without any kind of like special equipment, any kind of glass container or jar that you have, you can make cold brew in. Now this one I have actually from the Alabama Sweet Tea Company. If you've never heard of them, go ahead and look them up. They make some really delicious teas. And I found them and got this actually when I visited Waco, the silos down in Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines' place. They have a little food truck set up. And whenever you order a sweet tea from them, you get it in this jar with this little lid and a cute little red and white straw. It's adorable. And I have a bunch of these because I love their tea. I think it's so delicious. But I mean, again, any kind of container that you can cover with a lid or with plastic wrap or whatever is gonna work just fine. So don't be worried about being fancy. We're just trying to make us some cold brew here and we're trying to do it as inexpensively as possible. So the ratio is the same, 1/2 cup of grounds for every 2 cups of water. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab this in my measuring cup here. I'm so sorry if that sound is bothering some of you. And I don't have to be as prissy about this. So we're just gonna dump it right in the jar. That's it. I didn't get like a full 1/2 cup. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some more grounds in here. This is it. Ready? So that was our 1/2 cup of grounds. And now I'm just gonna pour the 2 cups of water right over top of it. Just like that. Boom. So easy. Now this one, because the grounds are all kind of sitting on the top, I'm gonna stir this guy up a little bit. I'm literally grabbing things out of my drawers as I film this. So I'm using a butter knife here from my kitchen and just giving this a stir. Does not need to be fancy. We just want all of the grounds to impart flavor to our water. That's it. It's that simple. And the same concept, I'm just going to cover this because this little lid has a hole in the top of it. So I am going to cover it probably with another little sandwich baggie. But you know, if you have mason jars with lids, by all means do that. With lids that don't have holes in them. And this is it. Now this one, because we don't have the grounds in like a little sack, This one has to be strained. So I'm gonna do a little cutaway for you guys and show you me straining this tomorrow morning, because that's when I'm gonna strain this, because it's the same time frame. So just like I said, I do this right before bed, and then I pull it out the next morning and empty it into a pitcher. So you'll see in the cutaway here, what I do is I put a coffee filter inside of my strainer, and it strains it somewhat slowly, but it still is super duper effective at keeping the coffee grounds out and getting you the delicious cold brew that you're looking for afterward. So it really is this simple, and it makes such a great cold brew. And guys, I'm not kidding when I tell you I just bumped you. I did the math. It is cheaper to make your own cold brew than it is to buy it. I did like how often I need to buy a bag of coffee versus like how often I need to buy like a bottle of cold brew. And I really did do the math. I sat down and I did all of the calculations, and it does come out to be cheaper to make your own. So I know it uses a lot of grounds, but I promise you it's worth the payoff. And here's the other thing. Don't buy pre-ground coffee. I know it's easier to do that, but that grind is a fine grind that you need for a drip coffee machine, because the hot water is moving through the filter so quickly that you need the most surface area available on each of the grounds in order to get the most flavor profile in a drip coffee. That's why you want to coarse grind on this one, because you're sitting overnight and you're going to be able to get a really robust flavor profile. English is hard. With a coarse grind of your coffee. So the grind does matter. With most coffee, the grind matters. And I'm telling you, it's just so delicious. So happy cold brewing to you. And what I'm going to do now is show you guys my super duper, very, very simple syrup that I use to make my own coffee syrup. All right, you guys. So I have you set up in like the wonkiest of circumstances, but sometimes this is just what you have to do in order to get the filming. So here we are. It's the simplest thing ever in the whole wide world. You're literally just making a simple syrup, which is equal parts sugar and water. Full disclosure, when I do this, I do 2 cups of water and two cups of sugar, just because I like to have to make this less. And I have found that it lasts in the fridge. It doesn't go bad or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about it going bad if you're a coffee everyday type of person. If you're not a coffee everyday type of person, definitely just make this ratio of 1 to 1. I mean, it's always 1 to 1. It's equal parts of each water and sugar. You can use any kind of sugar that you like. You know me, I am crunchy, so I recommend using real sugar. So actual sugar from the sugar cane, or honey, or maple syrup. Most everything else is a lot of mumbo jumbo. That's just my personal opinion. You know, have to share that every now and then. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner on, kind of like a medium high heat, and then just get this in here. So here's my 1 cup of water and my cup of sugar. And then all I do is just give this a little zhuzh with a spoon. And then I just sit and wait for the heat to do its magic. So basically what you're looking for here is to get a nice simmer on this. And once it comes to a simmer, all we're looking for is that the sugar is fully dissolved. That's it. That's all you're looking for. And then afterward, we will impart a little bit of flavor into it. But this is the only step requiring a little bit of babysitting, a little bit of overseeing, just because we want to make sure, like I said, we're dissolving this sugar in here. So I am gonna just let this hang out for a while and do its thing. I will pop the camera back on again when the water and sugar come to like a little bit of a simmer together, just kind of so that you can see what you're looking for. And then I'll show you the consistency also that we're looking for before we turn this off and remove it from the heat. Okay, so he's starting to make some moves. I always say about this, like you can hear it thinking. If you listen closely, it's starting to talk to you. So it's starting to bubble a little bit on the surface. It's mostly dissolved actually at this point because the heat does a good job of dissolving the sugar in the water before you ever really need a simmer on it. I just like to let it come to a little simmer, make sure it's fully dissolved before I take it off of the heat. And so that's just what I'm doing here. Like, you know, now that I've disrupted it, it's sort of, I guess, slowed the process down, but it's still, you can see the steam, it's still definitely coming to a point where it's going to start bubbling here soon. Once it does, we'll work that out. Okay, so we are simmering, and this is all we're really looking for. Once it comes to this simmer, I just kind of give it a stir one last time, make sure that it is, we're not dealing with any sugar granules, everything is fully dissolved. And then I take it off the heat and I will show you what I do from here. All right, so here we are. So now that everything is dissolved, what I do is I pull it completely off of the heat and I put it into a Pyrex so that it can cool down in here. Just because I feel like, I don't know, keeping it in the pan, I don't want it to like stay on the heat source. I don't want it to like overcook, or not that it would, or burn, but just in case. Like sugar is kind of sensitive to heat anyway. So the fun part from here, of course I don't have what I need. Okay, so this is where we add our vanilla. So I have this bourbon vanilla bean paste from Trader Joe's. I don't like this as much. The paste, I ended up finding out, has an ingredient in it that I'm not crazy about versus just their bourbon vanilla extract, is just like basically alcohol and vanilla beans. So I would prefer that over this, but we also don't waste. So, you know, I'm just going to use this up and then I just won't repurchase it. But this is where you add your vanilla. So it is for 1 cup of water and 1 cup of sugar. It's 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract or vanilla bean paste. They are interchangeable. This guy gets like really gloopy, which I'm not a super big fan of. And then I just go ahead and give this a stir around. The heat breaks down the vanilla bean paste. If it's just vanilla extract, it doesn't need to be broken down. You just kind of stir it around, but you add it off the heat because vanilla has alcohol in it, and you don't want anything splattering back up at you or anything, because alcohol is reactive to heat, or is flammable, highly flammable. And you can see like the consistency of this is thicker than water. It's syrupy, but it's still watery. It's not, it's not like a thick syrup. It's just like a thin syrup. And from here, I let it cool completely before I go putting it in my container for the fridge. And this is what I use. Actually, let me see if I can move this out of the way so I can get a better shot here for you guys. I bought this little pump from Amazon. I will go ahead and link it down below if you're interested. You don't need something like this. I just like it because I can just like pump this right into my coffee, and it is super duper nice. And you will notice in here, I don't know if you can see, I have a cinnamon stick. I always do this afterward. I just put it in the jar and pour the syrup in there because I think cinnamon and vanilla are super complementary flavors. You can also add like cinnamon powder into it. That would certainly taste delicious. I just keep this in here because I feel like it just gives a little cinnamony flavor, and it just looks fun in here too. I just think it looks pretty, but Honestly, if you don't have something like this, I'll show you what else I use. I literally went searching my kitchen for this. So I bought these from IKEA. These are these little glass jars that have this kind of like snap top. I used to store it in here for years and years actually, until I decided to get these little pumps from Amazon. But seriously, again, just like with the cold brew, you don't need fancy equipment. You don't need a special container. Put it in a bowl, put it in a mason jar, cover it with a lid, make sure it stays in the fridge, and you've got yourself some coffee syrup that tastes delicious. I find that the sweetness payoff on this is just dependent on how much sweets you eat. So if you're a person who has a sweet tooth, probably like 2 or 3 pumps of this is not going to seem like enough to you in your coffee. Again, tailor it to your own personal experience. But if you're a person who doesn't consume a lot of sweets, a little bit goes a long way in my personal opinion. So, take that for what it's worth. Everything is based on your own taste buds and your own flavor profile. And the beauty of something like this is you can completely tailor it to your own needs and your own taste buds. That's what I love about cooking. So I'm gonna just go ahead and move all this stuff out of the way and we'll finish up the video. All right, everyone. Well, that is gonna do it for me for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I always enjoy doing these little departures from my typical content, especially if I can share something with you all that brings me so much happiness and saves me a couple extra dollars. So that's it. If you did enjoy today's video, I would love it so much if you would go ahead and give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below and let me know if you plan on dipping your toe into the waters of making your own cold brew. And if you do it, please let me know how it turns out. I would love to see it. So anyways, I hope that you guys have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday and a lovely back end of the week. And I will see you guys again on Friday with my weekly check-in. So until then, I hope it's a great one. Bye, everyone.